Hello, everyone. Dr. G here. Today, in my Chemistry 100W course, which is a course where students learn technical communication, for example, specializing in communicating scientist to scientist. So, like writing a review paper, things like that is the type of work that they do in this course. And we were discussing ChatGPT today. And, can you involve this as part of your workflow? As you work as a researcher, in particular doing things like literature searches and things like that. And so basically, I just got my Chat GPT account last night, just learning to use it myself. And honestly, we had a really interesting experience with it and a great conversation around it. To the point that, I asked my students, Taylor and Bao, like, hey, this was a really great conversation. Do you mind if I share this with folks on YouTube? And they were all for it. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learn something about taking ChatGPT and using it as part of your workflow as a researcher. Let's try something real quick. Let's share the screen. So let's see. New chat. Let's say, I don't know, write me an outline for a research review paper on paper airplanes for a 20-page. See what it does. It's pretty good. Holy shit. Wow, this is detailed.
Well,
I thought it was
it's going.
Oh my God. I thought it was going to be like a BS, like, 4 bullet point kind of. Oh my God. Look at this.
9 sections?
Holy.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
This is nuts. Okay. Let's see. Introduction, background. Wow. All right. That's really good. What can you do, right? Like, toothpaste out of the tube, like this. Anybody can do this. Wow. Interesting. So
it's got everything. You could put almost 2 sentences under each one of those and have like a
yeah,
solid couple
absolutely.
pages,
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one thing is like, I think this is, and like, it's a good place to start, to be honest, because like, I feel like if you tell students not to use things like this, this is the way things are going, like I just don't see us going back. So like what you could do though is, you copy this whole thing, paste it in a Word document, and then, you put the subheadings, right? You add your own subheadings, you fill this thing out. But I think like using it as like a scaffold that you can build onto is it can be a smart thing, so I was playing with some prompts the other day, and like, let's see. So one thing you can do for looking even through the literature, you could say, let's see here, who are some of the leading engineers studying the aerodynamics of paper airplanes? And let's even put a date, since 2010. Now, this thing was trained on data up to 2020, so it can't tell us anything more recent than that, but let's see. Oh my God. So now, like, I'm doing a literature search, right? So now I can
you can have it like basically look up sources. I mean, I
yeah,
kind of like it as is that like they're saying, using it as like a scaffold, and then
yeah. You
kind
just
of
have it
give it a
open.
direction. That's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we could do like Ken Blackburn, and we can go to Google Scholar, because there's no point using it as a search. Google Scholar is the thing for that, and then paper
Exactly.
airplane, and then now we can apply all of our tricks since 2019, whatever. And we can go to 2023 now, because now I'm on Google Scholar. This is all current. Anyway, how about that? It's wild. But all right, so from what I've seen is like the more specific you can be, the better. And you have to fact check everything, right? That's another important thing. You have to fact check. Because it's going to sound 100% convincing and be dead wrong. So like, you can't just like believe what it tells you, but it, things like an outline. I mean, there's nothing to fact check, but like this, like, these people probably really are people who have published papers on paper airplanes, but, wow. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's try doing it to some competing theories. Do either of you have like two competing theories you're looking at? Bao, what's yours?
Mine is about the causes of Alzheimer's. So I guess there may be some competing theories that we
Okay,
can
yeah.
look up.
Let's
Ideas.
try contrast. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a different conversation. All right, so one thing that I've heard with these is like each conversation it kind of builds. So like if you're starting a new conversation, or if you're on a different topic, you should start a new conversation. So let's start a new chat, and let's do let's see here. Let's see here. Present 3 arguments why amyloid fibrils do not cause Alzheimer's disease. Let's see what that does. Wow, okay. So let's see. It's not always a direct. Okay, so this is interesting. That this is a now, I don't know if this is true or not. So then you want to fact check it in Google Scholar, right? So like I think this is a great tool if you use it the right way, right? If you use it to write your whole paper, no, that's obviously not the right way. But using it as a way to ask these specific questions is good. So okay, let's see. So I think this is an interesting argument that like, okay, if amyloid fibrils are the cause of Alzheimer's disease, then people with really severe cases of Alzheimer's disease, you could argue that they would have more amyloid fibrils in their brain, right? So this is something you can only test post-mortem. So after they pass away, if they've agreed to have their bodies examined, you can look and see how much Alzheimer's or see how much amyloid fibril they had in their brains. And yeah, you could absolutely check that.
I mean, at least it makes sense, like, just thinking about it logically, right? I can see what you mean about having to. So like from here, this is where you would take this information and then look for studies specifically on this, right? Through Google Scholar. Okay.
Like I just did. Yeah, let's see. So let's see if anybody actually says this, right? Because like I said, all the responses you get from ChatGPT sound very confident and like, yep, this is the way it is. And they'll be like, the sky is clearly green because anyway, let's see. Direct correlation between amount of fibril in brains and some okay. Okay, so I'm not seeing a paper that says that. Let me see here. This one maybe. This one maybe. So ultimately, you still have to be the scientist and go look at the paper. But this paper might be saying that. Just in the interest of time, I won't do that dive now. But I see no reason to not have ChatGPT open to look for things like this. And now we'll do the opposite. Do cause. And also, I reckon, so I've watched a few YouTube videos on like tips for writing effective prompts for ChatGPT. And there's some great YouTube videos out there. Have either of you heard that you can kind of create a character for the chat? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where like
I think I've seen other people do it. So most of the time I've seen this is I've seen people like on like Twitch or something.
Yeah.
They're just kind of messing around with
Right. Just silly
this,
things.
right?
Yeah. But like, you could, if you found that like the way it was explaining it was a little too basic, you could say something like, for the rest of this chat, please respond as if you are a professor of physics. And then, it'll keep the language more technical. Like you could do stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen someone try to do basically explain this like on 5 kind of thing.
Explain a what?
Like they say like kind of explain this like on 5.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah,
So
you could do that.
Like a more simplified answer.
Yep, yeah. You can make it more complex or more or simplified. Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Genetic mutations. Yeah, so these wow. So basically, like it can suggest a lot of great things for you to just look into and be like, all right, what's up with this? What's up with that? But always you have to fact check. I think that's the big thing, is you have to fact check and realize when you're giving it a bias, right? So here I asked for arguments one way, and then I asked for arguments the exact opposite. See what it would say. Do things like that, try and make it argue against what you're trying to say and see if the arguments are any good. And then you might be like, oh wow, that's actually a pretty good point. Maybe I need to think about this better, right? Let's see. This is off topic, but this is such a short conversation. I'll just put it in here. Let's say we do let's see here. Present 3 arguments why molecular switches let's see here, why molecular switches will be, and actually let me think here, are the most economically viable choice for digital data storage. And notice how specific I am. I didn't say like, 3 arguments why molecular switches are great, or like, why they're useful, right? These are hard to define. I said economically viable, right? So if we put that, let's see what it says. Oh my God.
Nice. Yeah, high data density and low power consumption. Okay. Yeah.
You talked about that, didn't you? I think that was in your presentation.
I did, actually.
That's why I was cracking up. I was like, yep, I think I heard you say that. Okay, wow.
Man, I should have just had ChatGPT too.
See, and this is why I feel like I have to be open about this, is because this is where things are going. Like, so like what I don't want is for you to be the people who are like taking the high road and I'm not using it. But then like you're competing against people who do. So like I heard an interesting quote that they said, like, I can't remember what field they were talking about. Let's say it was art, and they said something like, they don't think that AIs are going to replace all artists, but they do think that artists who are using AI are going to replace artists who do not. Right. I think that kind of encapsulates it, is that like
we'll just have like a new kind of artist. Like we'll have like new kinds of art and new techniques, I guess.
Yeah. And if you're competing to kind of like so maybe art's a bad choice. Programmers. Let's stick with programmers. That's a better choice. So programmers who use AI aids like this are going to surpass programmers who don't. Because someone who's like, no, I'm a good programmer, I'm going to write this right the first time, I'm going to do it all myself. Some of the time they may move faster, right? If there's something that it's a really like subtle point, it's a really difficult thing to do, yeah, then maybe the programmer writing it from scratch is going to be faster. But if the customer just wants like a really standard website, right? Like I want a standard website to sell my books, right? I make books, I write books, I want to sell my books. That's a pretty standard thing. So the programmer who starts with ChatGPT and again makes a scaffolding that they can build onto is going to move so much faster than the other one who tries to do it all from scratch. So that's kind of where I am with it, is I think it's a tool. I think it's an amazing tool that I kind of feel like it'd be crazy not to use it.
It does make sense as long as it doesn't appear dangerous in any way. I've seen,
Yeah,
like just comparing it to something like, do we make certain kinds of drugs or steroids like legal in like the Olympics, and just tell people, right, let's see. And in that same respect, right, people maybe the sport doesn't change too much, right? But you see people who are using it will definitely beat out people that don't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you kind of have you just have to be smart about how you use it and ethical about how you use it. And I think part of it is that, like, there has to be some element of trust there. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. So, because like there's certain fundamental things that, like, basically, well, okay, people like back in the day when they invented calculators, and like a lot of people really freaked out. There's people legit freaking out over calculators, and they thought, oh my God, children in schools aren't going to learn how to multiply and add, right? And children in schools still learn how to multiply and add. And so I think that's part of it, is that like now we've moved up to way more complex tasks that it used to take like maybe a graduate degree or something to get good at doing that thing, right? Like have you both seen that, like, GPT-4 can pass the bar exam easily? Have you seen this?
I haven't seen that. That's
like kills it, like so, like, because it's a computer, so they give it a bunch of exams, and I think it passed it something like 90% of the time or something. Like it does really well on the bar. It's very good at it. They gave it like the GRE,
nice.
SATs, all these things. It's really good at this stuff. And so that's something that's kind of like, okay, this is something we used to hold, like that was a high level of human thought, and it still is a high level of human thought, but it used to be like, oh well, a machine will never do that. Well, it totally does now.
I mean, I think it's quite viable. We were recently in our OChem class, we were recently talking about X-ray crystallography, and how when we first started using these techniques, it would take essentially forever to just do one crystal. And our Dr. Brooke was saying, oh, you did one crystal and you analyzed its structure and you wrote all the equations out. That's basically the doctorate right there.
Right.
And whereas today, you did it. No, well, congratulations, you did one crystal. It takes not that long anymore. So
yep.
But now we're pushing so much further past that because we have the technology to enable that, right? So
exactly, the bar is so much higher, and that's it. And that's why I'm not going to discourage the class or forbid it. First of all, we just had a conversation about making rules you can't enforce. Right? If I was like, no, exactly. ChatGPT, well, then the only people who are going to not do it are the ones who are like, being ethical and, be the honor system. And that's fine. But then I feel like it goes beyond that for me. For me, it's kind of like, no, I think we're seeing a major paradigm shift right now. And you might as well embrace it and make the most of it, rather than, just try to kind of take that high road and I'm not going to touch it. Like, it turns into punchable. Right?
I mean, I feel like it's also in that boat where it's like, well, you might as well learn to at least use it properly. If you're going to
exactly.
You might as well learn.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an even better argument. Yes, is that I would rather kind of put my 2 cents out there and kind of show this demonstration, right? Like I was just doing. And I'll of course post this later for everybody else to see. But I think, if because like as you're working on a paper like this, in your mind, you're thinking things like this, like, okay, it seems like there's back and forth. Like I should probably find 3 arguments why amyloid fibrils do cause it and don't cause it, because I want to compare who's arguing this in the literature, right? Let me try one other thing. Let's try this now. Give me 3 research papers that argue that amyloid fibrils do not cause. Oh my God, let's see if this works. Yep, toothpaste is out of the tube. So
there it is.
Oh my God, there they are. Well, okay, so now let's just pick one of them. So pick this article, go to Google Scholar. I think this is how I'm writing papers from now on. I'm going to have ChatGPT here. I'm going to have Google Scholar there. And this is my life now.
Now you only need 2 tabs.
Yeah, right. It's so true. So true. I love it. Instead of like 150. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Where also Amazon? Okay. Now this is interesting. I wonder if it made up a paper title that doesn't exist. Oh, that's funny. Is this a real paper? Let's see. MLI 5 current status and future directions. Oh no, there it is. Right. Well, let's see. Who are the authors? Inga Kaddish, Robert Murphy. Inga Kaddish. Airline. I think it gave us a fake paper. Oh, this is really informative. Okay, this is good. I'm really glad we're doing this for class because I want everyone to see this. Let me try doing oh wait, hang on. Oh, okay. Oh my God, it's real. Alzheimer's disease. Wait, no, this is different. Alzheimer's disease.
It sounds like it's like kind of put together like a bunch of other like titles and just
I agree.
made its own title.
I agree. This paper doesn't exist.
so I can see. So it reminds me of like it's just trying to like string together things that make sense, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Maybe that's where it's being misled here.
So the way models work like this is it's remarkable that they work as well as they do, because what they do is the way these language models work is, if you think like, okay, if you look at the word amyloid in a sentence, you know, what are the next, look at the probabilities of the word the next word. What's the next word going to be after the word amyloid? Really high probability it's fibril, right? It's that like that. That's how it works. Like it could make, but so basically that's how these models work, is that they string together words that have a high probability of following each other.
Right. It's basically fancy text prediction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a unbelievably over the top text prediction. But this is a perfect example that it absolutely just made up a paper. Oh my God, this is wild. All right, let's check other ones. Let's see if any of these other ones are real. Let's see this one. Now, another thing we could try, instead, we could ask for a website. All right, let me see here. Outside, amyloid beta firewalls. Oh, interesting. Okay, now let's try this. I'm gonna say, what did I say? Give me 3 more. And so include links to the papers. Now let's see.
Include links. So would we be able to get it to actually perform a search doing this? That's like what we're trying to do with this exercise, right?
Yeah, basically. So the reason why you would do it this way in ChatGPT rather than Google Scholar is because I would like in Google Scholar, I'd be trying to think of different ways to kind of search for this string of text to be like, like I could search, you know, I could search that in Google Scholar, right? I could say, and, you know, I'm not really, you know, these may say that, they may not, but it's just kind of doing like a blind text matching. There's no sort of logical path to it. You know what I mean? Whereas with this one, so now let's see if it gives, oh my God, let me see. So we may have figured out how to make it give us real papers. Let's see, a T7.
That's amazing. By making
wait, unless it gave us a different link. Hang on, wait. Let's see. So this is the Hardy and Dennis Selko.
Yeah, it's definitely
it's Sion Kwok, Han, and An. Oh my God, that's really funny. So it gave me links. It did what I wanted. It gave.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so this demonstration ended up being way better than I thought it was going to be. God, this is so funny. Oh my God, let's see if any of the links are right. Okay, this one is Derek Lowe. Here's a dead link. All right. Maybe let's see here. Okay, now let's try another thing. My God, I love this so much. Okay. Along with links to each paper, and please confirm that the title, see, be specific, the title of the paper in the link matches the title in your description. Maybe now I got it. Certainly, here are the links.
All right, John Hardy is back.
John Hardy's back. Derek Lowe again, too. I think that was another one. All right, let's see. Hardy, let's see if this one matches. No.
It's the same paper, too.
Yep. He's just straight up lying to us now. Oh my God, it's the same links. You didn't check. Oh, that's really funny. But look, it put title and the link matches title and description.
Wow.
Oh, this is too funny. Okay. Wow, this is so wild. Let's see. I really want to try and make this thing actually give me real papers. Any ideas?
What if we tried something slightly simpler?
Oh, you know what? We could try something simpler, but I want to see if we can make it work for this topic. How about this? So I've heard you can kind of give it corrections and then say, let's see here. I feel like we got to be polite to our AI overlords, right? So I try to phrase these things nicely. I must correct you here. The links do not lead to the papers. Do not lead to the research papers mentioned. Please correct this. So we get now.
I feel like I want to write thank you at the end of every
I know, right?
Right? Just in case.
But and like, yeah, there's arguments for like, at some point I think these things are going to be conscious. I don't think this thing is conscious, but like, you might as well get in good habits now, right? Let's see. It gave us a different paper this time. Amyloid, Hardy, and Dennis Selko. It's still not them. I wonder if it cites them, though. Let me see. Hardy. Nope. Okay, first one, swing and a miss. Second one, still a dead. Oh, stop giving me dead links. Okay, what's this one? Who's this? Nixon? Ralph Nixon? Nope, no Nixon here. All right. So it seems to me that we can't get it to give us real papers.
Do we know that the authors are actual authors, or do you think those are just generic names too?
That you're right. They could be. They absolutely could be. All right, let's try this. Let's say, let's just ask for authors. Let's say, let's see here. I'll ask for 3 authors. Give me 3 research. Give me the names of 3 researchers who argue. Do not call them. Okay. Links to their papers. Let's see if this works. Yo, it's obsessed with Hardy and Lowe. They better be a real person. Nixon again. All right, I want to look up these people too. Let's see if this is legit. Is this real?
I bet it's the same links. Oh, there it is.
That is. Oh my God, it's the same one. This thing is just straight up lying to us. My God, dead link. Come on, weak.
It's really convinced that these 3 links are what we need.
Yeah, it really loves these people. Let's see if they exist. So that was a very good point you made. John Hardy, Alzheimer's. It looks like it's a real person.
Okay, yeah. So what if we find that?
Yeah, okay, that's real. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, because I'm saying, so what if we look up John Hardy on Scholar?
Okay.
and then we see if he does have that paper, and maybe the problem is just with it giving us the link, but it's actually giving us like a good paper.
Okay, good idea. Good idea.
Okay.
Drachman.
Maybe he cites Hardy.
He cites Hardy 3 times, it looks like. Or not really.
Okay, so it's like it's getting a good amount of it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just not sure exactly. It doesn't know what we're looking for exactly, right? But
you know what's interesting though is it did land us on a paper that we would have wanted in that search.
Exactly, but it's like,
right?
So what's stopping it from giving us this link is like the next step here.
That right, I agree. That is interesting. That is interesting. So from a perspective of someone who just wants to use a tool to find something, we did find the thing we wanted. We found a paper exactly what we want. Like it's not, this is he's even a little snarky in the title, right? Time to move on. So right. There's no question that this person is absolutely arguing what we wanted them to argue. Amyloid fibers do not cause Alzheimer's disease. So, we got where we wanted to go, interestingly enough. It was not how we expected to find it, but it worked. I don't know.
I think it's almost like having a really, like, it's almost like using like a library tool, or like talking to a really good librarian. It's like an AI librarian.
Yeah, it is. Right. An AI librarian who just makes stuff up.
It's just like, oh yeah, try this and this and this, and one of these will get you to what you're looking for, right? Right.
It's like people who you ask for directions and they have no idea, but they don't want to admit they don't know. So like, oh yeah, you go over here, and then you're like, oh my, they just made that up. Oh my god, that's too funny. Well, I think this is probably a good spot to end the conversation. So, just out of curiosity, would either of you mind if I put this recording on YouTube? Would that bother you?
Not one bit for me, no.
How about you, Bao?
No, not at all. I'm good with that.
Okay, you're good with that? Okay, yes. Great. Wonderful. Cool, because I feel like this could be a really nice demonstration for other people to see that, it's you got to be careful with this thing. It's useful. It's absolutely useful. Absolutely useful. But, you got to use it the right way. So anyway, thank you both. I had a really nice time talking to both of you. So thanks for doing this with me. But we'll talk soon. All right.
Yeah, no problem. Right. See you next week.
Yes. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.